People in agriculture are usually, in most cases, forward-thinking because you don't decide you're going to plant the trees today. You have to think ahead. You have to think ahead in the finances, and you have to think ahead in your soils and what type of soils you have and what types of crops you can grow. So it's not something you just show up and do. There's lots of people to learn from, and farmers are pretty open about sharing and allowing you in on their trade secrets, so to speak. And that's how I've learned a lot. I always like to go to farmers who I think are do a good job, and that I would like to be able to farm like they do. And so growing up, that's what I like to copy. Well, I think that farmers in general are, for the most part, honest and open people, and it's fun to do business with another farmer, because if he tells you he's going to do something, he usually does it. My brother and I used to do a lot of the different jobs on the ranch that was character building. That's what my dad would say. He taught us how to work. He used to wake us up in the morning, some ungodly hour, and when you're a teenager, you really didn't want to be getting up to go out, but he'd shake us out of bed. Hubba, hubba, rise and shine, hit the deck, all of the above. I still remember the Melville E. Wilson, it's an old fertilizer company thing. So "We're the Men Who Walk the Furrow" was on the radio every morning when we get up, and it was almost, it's fun now, but at the time it was just like, oh man, we've got to listen to that again.
My father's always taught me hard work pays off, and going through tough times or not tough times, there's always work to be done, and in the end, you can always believe that when you put in your full effort, that it's going to pay off in the end. You might not see it a year from now, but it'll always be there. Your reward will always be there for working so hard, and that's how we grew up. We worked hard, and it did always end up on the positive end. Sometimes it didn't seem like it. Some years our crops didn't pop up like they should, but hard work does pay off, and that's what I always take away from that. Well, since I graduated, I've been farming now full time for about 12 years, and yeah, it's really changed. A lot more accurate everything, down to the drop of water you use to per acre, and it's just a more sustainable ag, and I think every year it's going to get more and more that way. But we have seen a lot of changes in just that 12 years, and a lot better technology, better chemistries, better equipment, better everything. It's just kind of how the world goes, though. Everything does improve over time. California ag is the breadbasket of the world, and I knew I always wanted to come back to be a part of that. There isn't any other where we can grow so many different vegetables, fruits, commodities, that feeds the world. So it's extremely important part of this state and the nation, and I take a lot of pride in being part of that. Family and holidays together, you almost always knew we were going to come to my grandpa's house and have to work first before we can enjoy each other. And I definitely remember coming to cut wood and stack wood before we even started our festivities for that Christmas day or that Easter morning. We had to work first, and I think that's one of the memories that'll always be there. Very fortunate to be able to lean on my grandfather for the last 12 years. He's a wealth of knowledge, and you can sit down and ask him questions all day, and I'd be fortunate to know 10% of what he knows right now. And he's one of those American stories that he came with his brother with not much in his pocket, and turned out to be an extremely successful man. And it's pretty neat to have a man like that in your family that worked that hard and that was willing to put himself out there. And now you look back and you'd never know it, but he's an extremely successful man.
I went to Cal and I studied agriculture. And so, what's that tell you? You know, California is pretty diverse, and the university has done a lot of research, of course, in all fields. But it's done a lot of research in almonds and tree crops and the west side and the water business. And so it just, it was a natural thing to kind of follow my nose and knew the people that I knew, what they were doing, and where I wanted to go. My son Clay and my grandson Clay, both of those guys have been farming all their lives, so they were I call them natural-born farmers. They woke up with dirt on their boots, and they never take them off. I know my son Clay is extremely responsible, and he's a good farmer and a good banker. If you're not a banker, you better not be a good farmer, because they go hand in hand, and you got to understand money, and you got to understand how much money is, and how you get it, and how you keep it. I know my son Clay and the grandson Clay boy. I trust those guys with everything I got. So if they need some help, we'll dig in and facilitate it.